Welcome to Steelers Live. It's day 2 of practice here at St. Vincent College. I'm Lyndsay Petruny, joined by the one and only Bob Labriola. Let's send it down.
Thank God for that.
To Mike Prisuta and Dale Lolley. They are standing by for a practice report on the field.
Thanks, Lyndsay. It has been an eventful afternoon down here on the practice fields of St. Vincent College. A lot of us in the media have been waiting eagerly for tomorrow when they put the shoulder pads on and they stop playing flag football. But Dale, a development today with the Steelers' #1 draft pick, Terrell Edmunds.
Yeah, getting on the field with the first unit. Got a little trial by fire today in the 7 shots drill. They went right after him. It was, Vance McDonald scoring a touchdown against him. We saw Justin Hunter score a touchdown against him. The kid's learning. The one, I was right there for the one with Vance McDonald. Terrell Edmunds had a big handful of jersey in the back, but McDonald just kind of boxed him out, used that big frame to score the touchdown.
Yeah, from what we can tell, Morgan Burnett didn't do anything today, and that would explain Edmunds getting a look with the big boys. It's funny because Ben Roethlisberger was quarterbacking 7 shots, and I remember Edmunds talking after, I believe it was OTA #1, and he said he looked at Ben when he was playing against him, and Roethlisberger smirked at him. At least that was Edmunds, and then he threw the ball at his guy. So this is what happens when you're #1 pick. They know you're out there, and they want to see what you can do and see if all the hype is justified. And I'm sure Terrell Edmunds will want to try to do better tomorrow.
I'm sure he will. Mike, we also got to see the 2nd and 3rd round draft picks do some things out there today. Mason Rudolph throwing a nice touchdown pass down the sidelines to James Washington against Cam Sutton. Little subtle push off there.
Yeah, some debate among media types on the sideline. Was it a subtle push that he would get away with? I'm betting Sutton would say it was a penalty, but it was fun to see those guys hook up. You know, part of the attraction, I guess, from a fan or media standpoint, the drafting of Washington and Rudolph. They were such an explosive and productive combination at Oklahoma State. They're good friends. They're appreciative of being here together and starting their NFL careers together, and that was pretty play.
It was. It really was, and as you said, Cam Sutton would probably disagree with that, but it was well thrown, well run route. That kind of made up for some of the early struggles that Mason Rudolph did had. He missed some throws early.
Of course, the play of the day, who but Antonio Brown delivers that. And this was a long ball down the sideline from Landry Jones, and Brown was double covered by Cody Sensabaugh and Malik Golden. And Sensabaugh had his hands all over Brown as he was dragging him to the ground along the sideline. Antonio Brown did one of those pin the ball up against your shoulder with one hand type of catches. Sensabaugh was so perplexed by the development. He took a knee, took his helmet off, and then he got up and just tossed his helmet to the sideline.
Well, he's probably thankful that he didn't hurt Antonio Brown, because that would be a sure ticket out of town.
But, I mean, what a catch. And it doesn't matter if it's OTAs on the south side or out here during training camp without pads or a big game against the Baltimore Ravens. Antonio Brown just finds a way to do what you don't think he's able to do.
Always. He always goes 100% all the time. You'll see him out here after practice today, working another half an hour or so after practice. That's just what he does.
Did a little kicking down here today as well for all you special teams enthusiasts. Chris Boswell kicking off a tee and out of the hold. So that's a wrap for an eventful day, and we're still looking forward to tomorrow and the shoulder pads coming on, guys, but fun stuff down here in day 2 at St. Vincent College.
Okay, we heard Mike and Dale talking about 7 shots and how Terrell Edmunds kind of got a little bit of a baptism by fire today. You know, that's one of the reasons. Thank you, Thunderbirds. One of the reasons why the Steelers do not bring their rookies to training camp earlier than the veterans. The CBA does provide for a coach to bring rookies and new guys to training camp up to a week earlier before the rest of the veterans report. Mike Tomlin said once that he doesn't do that for the very specific reason that we kind of saw during 7 shots. He said he doesn't want the rookies getting a false sense of security by going against each other for 7 days before the veterans come in. He said that could lead them to believe that playing in the National Football League is not as difficult as it really is. He used the example of, he said, if I have a rookie cornerback, I want him to line up against Antonio Brown right away and learn how difficult it is to cover the best receiver in the NFL. I don't want him going up against some undrafted rookie from a small school thinking, hey, I don't have to really work that hard in order to succeed in this league. And I'm just here to tell you all who watched that practice report, a special team enthusiast, Mike Prisuta is not.
Well, you're going to be hearing a lot of planes going by, I think, in the next few days.
Yeah,
we have a lot coming up this weekend here in Latrobe, and one thing is the air show.
Yeah, and this is the second time in my 100 years in this job where where training camp and the air show have lined up to overlap a little bit. The first time was during the Bill Cowher era, and at that time the highlight, instead of the Thunderbirds, which we hear now and will be performing or exhibiting their skills this weekend, it was the Blue Angels. And the Blue Angels had a really kind of sick sense of humor. They learned somehow that, I won't say Bill Cowher was afraid, but when they pass over really low, you hear them before you see them. Mm-hmm. And there were a couple of different times they timed it when Bill Cowher was doing his post-practice briefing down on the field, and guys would duck like that because they were coming over so low you could really almost see the pilots in the cockpit laughing at us. Whoa. So yeah, it's quite a weekend out here in the beautiful Laurel Highlands, as they say.
Yep, and the airport's just right over the
yes,
hill.
It is.
So
yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Steelers Live. All the key players of the Steelers offense are returning, but there is one new face who's not really a new face at offensive coordinator.
Randy Fichtner certainly isn't a new face on the Steelers offense, and it's that continuity that might be his best asset heading into his first season as the Steelers play caller.
Randy is Randy. Those of you that have been around him as long as me know that the passion that he brings to the game of football is infectious, and it's fun, and everyone kind of feeds off it. So we don't want Randy to change. We want him just to continue to be the person, the coach that he has been for us.
He's been really helpful in my kind of development. Very detail oriented, very quick to spell things out. He's awesome with answering all my questions, which I have had a lot, and blown up his phone a little bit too. So he's good.
While Randy will still likely be the same old Randy, he can expect to see some changes with his new role.
The management of staff, the division of labor, managing that, coaching coaches, they're very different jobs from that perspective. Very similar jobs in terms of your relations or interactions with players.
He's not going to change who he is. He's not going to change his approach to the game. He's not going to change and be a different person.
One change you can expect to see with the new offensive coordinator is his use of the tight ends.
I think Vance is a unique kind of animal, if you will. I think we can utilize him in different ways. And I think, Randy will find ways to do that, whether that's, splitting him out, putting him in tight, screens, all kinds of things.
He really just has that passion to get the tight end involved. And, over the course of the last, decade, even just looking at the position, there's tons of opportunities for mismatches, especially when you have a great quarterback like Ben's.
We have to take advantage of opportunities, whether that short field defense gives us turnovers, punt team, all those things. We need to take advantage and get in the red zone and be as successful as we want to be down there.
Not much has changed in the big scheme of things. They got 11, we got 11. We better move the ball fluidly down the grass.
I think one of the key elements in the decision to promote Randy Fichtner to offensive coordinator was the fact that he has developed a solid, trusting relationship with the team's franchise quarterback. During his tenure here, Randy Fichtner was part of Mike Tomlin's original staff that came aboard in 2007. Randy Fichtner has coached the wide receivers and the quarterbacks as two offensive positions before being elevated to offensive coordinator this past January. So over that time, he has developed a rapport. There's a trust that has been built with Ben Roethlisberger. And when you have a quarterback as good as Ben, who has been here as long as Ben, a quarterback that the Steelers want to keep here as long as possible, you kind of have to make some concessions in terms of who you put in the room to coach him, to coordinate the offense, and those kind of things. And I think that, as opposed to it being possibly a negative, if you have a coach who's too friendly with a player who's really young and inexperienced, I think that a trust, I won't call it a friendship, but a professional respect between the coach and the franchise quarterback at this stage of that quarterback's career and at this level of his development and production is pretty important. I don't know that we're going to see a lot of changes, but I just think that there will be a comfort that this team is going to need to be as productive as this unit's going to need to be this season.
Well, Labs, earlier today I had a chance to sit down with linebacker Jon Bostic, one of the true new faces on the team, and we chatted a little about how he's going to be contributing to the communication on defense.
I think I'm going to help out big time in that because that's something I don't really mess around with. At the end of the day, my buttons, get pushed a little bit, when, guys aren't communicating. I'd rather, over communicate, than, guys not, saying anything. At the end of the day, if one guy is out there and he's loud and wrong, we can all be loud and wrong. And if we're all loud and wrong together, we're all right. So by the end of the day, it's about taking that stuff that we learn in the meetings that, we practice, over and over and walkthroughs and in practice over to the game. We got to make sure that stuff carries over.
And you can catch that full interview tomorrow morning on Steelers.com. And this is what's on tap this weekend. Check it out. There's lots going on here at training camp. The second annual Steelers Charity Walk kicks off tomorrow morning pretty early. The Hall of Honor announcement. It's the second Hall of Honor. We're going to have a live event tomorrow, 1 p.m. We'll be having a show for that, Labs. And first practice in pads is tomorrow, 2:55
Always
p.m.
one of my favorites.
Yep.
First practice in pads. Any fans who are thinking about coming to that, make sure you're here on time because, as we were talking about, there are a lot of events here, including the Westmoreland County Air Show, and typically the first drill of what Mike Tomlin refers to as competition period is backs on backers. It's a tone setter, and you don't want to miss that. It's always one of my favorites.
And then women's training camp, bright and early. I'll be there, 7 a.m.
I'll let you
Sunday
handle.
morning.
I'll let you handle that one.
You don't want to join me for that?
No, 7 a.m. There's not a whole lot I am interested in doing at 7 a.m. except rolling over and closing my eyes again.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for that Hall of Honor event starting at 1 p.m. Thanks for joining us.